get to that, there's a few people I want to thank. Firstly, I'd like to thank MP Stephen Fuhrer for joining us this afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to working with Stephen as his counsel over the coming years. And I also really want to, more importantly, no offense to you, Stephen, but I want to thank my council colleagues because they have made this such an incredible year, and I want to thank you for your support. So if you wouldn't mind, maybe just I want to reintroduce my great council team to all of you. So maybe I'll just start here around the table with Councillor Tracy Gray. If you want to maybe just stand up and give a wave, Tracy. We have the Chair of the Regional District, Councillor Gail Gibbon. Councillor Brad Sieben, Councillor Luke Stack, Councillor Maxine DeHart, Councillor Mohini Singh, Councillor Charlie Hodge, and Councillor Ryan Don. And I also want to thank our City Manager, Ron Matuzzi, for also, along with my fellow councillors, being a rock for me over this past year. And I also just want to say thank you to my wife, Leanne, and my mom, Donna, who are here attending their first ever chamber lunch. So thank you, both of you, for being here. So it has been an amazing year. Since, the last time I was here addressing you all, no one was really sure what to expect with the new mayor and 4 new councillors. But the 9 of us believe that we have all continued to move Kelowna forward on many fronts. Individually, we have different memories or highlights that stand out to us. Highlights for me include finalization of the CN Rail Corridor purchase and the acquisition of future waterfront parkland and amenity space on Lakeshore Road. These are great examples of investments that secure more land for expanded public access to our great outdoors. Another highlight for me was the huge strides our city has taken to become more inclusive and accepting of others. We have opened our arms to Syrian refugees and new citizens from around the world. How quickly we sometimes forget that we too came from somewhere else, and we are now so fortunate to call this place home. Even the simple act of painting rainbow crosswalks downtown sent a very loud and clear message. Kelowna truly is a place for everyone. Although, as I've mentioned at the beginning of this week, not everyone can find a good paying job here. Yes, as you might have seen in the news, a report released by BMO last week, and I won't ask anyone from BMO to raise their hand, but maybe, Caroline, we could send them the bill for lunch, perhaps, after this. That, yes, Kelowna is the worst place in the country to find a job. Not a list we want to be on, for sure, but I do have a few problems with the study that I'll get into in a minute. But I want to take this opportunity to explain what Council is doing to address employment and why there are far more reasons to be optimistic about our city's future and the direction we are heading. As you will see, everything we do is connected to strengthening the local economy and growing entrepreneurship. Now, the problem we have with the BMO report is that it's a 1-month snapshot of employment changes, and that can be misleading. Stats Canada even has a warning about the value of this labor market data due to its small sample size of 100 households. A longer view, and apparently some of those households they call aren't even in Kelowna, but that, again, that's for another day. A longer view of the unemployment scene might show that this blip in unemployment is due to the slump in the Alberta oil industry. Many oil patch workers list the central Okanagan as their primary residence. So when the patch booms, we benefit, and we get an unemployment rate that was in the 3% range in the past 12 months. The unemployment average for all of 2015 was actually 5.2%. But when the patch suffers, we eventually see the effects here too. But make no mistake, our economy is more diverse than ever, and there are jobs here. On Tuesday, the Economic Development Commission launched a web-based tool to connect job seekers to employment options, and it already has more than 300 jobs posted. Accelerate Okanagan has 100 jobs posted on its website. Another online job service called Indeed has 2,700 job postings within 50 kilometers of here. The local real estate market was strong in 2015, and indications are that it will remain steady in Kelowna through 2016 and 2017, according to Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation. The number of building permits issued by the city were up significantly in 2015, and the total value of permits was nearly $500 million, the highest number since before the recession of 2008 and 2009. Business licenses were up 7% in the Central Okanagan in 2015. The City of Kelowna issued 550 more licenses compared to the year before. 38% of businesses surveyed by the EDC in 2015 say they expected to hire more employees in the next 3 years. Our province currently has the strongest performing economy in Canada. Kelowna has a diversified economy with some strongly performing economic sectors like construction, technology, which we just heard about, 2 people who moved here from Kelowna to start up this amazing new company and expect to grow to potentially 50 new employees in the coming months. You know what? Awesome things are happening here. Kelowna has also received the province's Open for Business Award for the past 2 years, and the Canadian Federation of Independent Business named Kelowna the best place in Canada for entrepreneurship last year. So we'll see what the global and national economies do in 2016, but our council remains optimistic about Kelowna's future because we know our investments will continue building a safe, strong community with a great quality of life and a great place to do business, which is why entrepreneurship will continue to flourish here. As I say, we have great reasons to be optimistic and not be distracted by yet another list where we rank in Canada this month. We know Kelowna is one of the most desirable places to call home. This region had the highest rate of population growth, as I mentioned, in Canada between 2013 and 2015. We're confident our investments in building a great city are paying off in a number of ways, including the ability to generate employment opportunities. So if a city's value is derived from its people, to compete in this new economic environment, cities need to develop a more citizen-centric approach to services and community development. Open and transparent government, coupled with evidence-based decision-making, which sounds really radical. Evidence-based decision-making, wow, who would have thought, hey? Through scientific surveys or by tapping into our data and enhancing our analytic capabilities. By doing so, we can better attract, create, enable, and retain citizen skills, knowledge, and creativity. The City of Kelowna doesn't view you as customers. We see you as citizens, and there is a huge difference. A well-run, citizen-centered, livable, and of course attractive city doesn't just happen. It's the result of thoughtful decision-making, investment, and community involvement. So I'll talk about what's going on in those areas and why, again, we're optimistic about Kelowna's future. I'm going to talk about infrastructure investment and funding decisions that make Kelowna a great place. But to be upfront, there aren't a lot of new, exciting announcements for 2016. This year is about taking care of business by making sure our core services are being maintained. And that includes making progress on Council's #1 priority, moving toward an integrated water system for the whole city. This is a very important subject, and I will get into it in greater detail in a few minutes. Tomorrow is Abraham Lincoln's birthday, and as the great American president once said, you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. As a council and as a city administration, it's our responsibility to make wise investments today that will serve Kelowna for generations. We are looking at what's in the best long-term interests of our community for the most part in the years ahead. We need to pay attention to our existing roads, buildings, bridges, utilities, and parks. This attention on keeping core services current is what's behind the most expensive project we have taking shape in 2016. The new police services building, a $48 million project, is an investment that could not be deferred any longer in our community. This project, plus our commitment to hire an adequate number of RCMP officers for a city of our size, accounts for half of this year's 4% tax increase. As important as policing is for the development of a safe and vibrant community, we also need to treat the root cause of some of our issues around drug use and homelessness. Council has decided to play a larger role on the social side of the safety equation. We will fund a 3-year contract for a social issues coordinator to assess the current social environment in our community and determine the most appropriate role for the city to play. We want results on the ground, and we will direct our efforts to those areas that lead to real improvements, knowing that homelessness, poverty, and mental illness issues are complex and interrelated and beyond the ability of any one entity like the city to solve alone. But playing a more proactive role takes financial resources. We know that. But we also know we have a responsibility to make sure our city is safe for all citizens. We have a responsibility to make sure infrastructure is designed and built to last for decades. And we have a responsibility to invest in the best ways to enjoy living, working, and playing in Kelowna. Careful financial management has allowed the city to plan years into the future and put together budgets that limit unanticipated spikes in taxation. And the bottom line is, 2/3 of city revenues are not from taxes. Most of our revenue comes from things like grants and partnerships, development charges, and user fees. We also have a healthy reserve fund program that gives us the financial resources to quickly partner with the private sector or senior levels of government on local investments. This long-standing reserves policy in Kelowna has kept us well-positioned to respond quickly to funding proposals. That's how John Hindle Drive was moved up on the construction schedule by a number of years, because we had the funds ready to partner with the federal and provincial governments. As a result, Kelowna will pay $4.6 million instead of the $12 million for this road, which is set for construction later this year. We look forward to further cooperation with our members of Parliament and our MLAs over the course of the next year. Key investments made in 2015 will set Kelowna up for the years ahead. The city's fiber optic network began taking on customers last year and will be expanding this year. Council approved a budget of $2.4 million to extend the network north to the airport and university area this year and be online by 2017. With Bardell Entertainment and Rackforce Networks now subscribed to the fiber optic network, more businesses are beginning to see the competitive advantage Kelowna brings to the table. 2 things were key to Bardell setting up in Kelowna: attractive commercial real estate prices and the fiber optic network. This service gives us some welcome revenue, but it's equally important to us as a cost savings. Having our own network connecting city facilities saved us $150,000 in telecommunications costs last year alone. Cost savings are not as interesting to talk about as new projects, but we are constantly reviewing our operations to see if there's a better way to do things. So between John Hindle Drive and our fiber network, there's $7.5 million we can now leverage against other projects. The fiber network really exemplifies 3 focus areas council and staff have for 2016. Find ways to generate revenue, find ways to cut costs, and continue to invest in innovation to bring business development. A different kind of highlight from 2015 was the introduction of the Strong Neighborhoods program. This program was introduced to recognize and support how important it is to have a strong sense of attachment and investment to your neighborhood. Developing that just enhances the wider experience of living in Kelowna. And the first year was a resounding success. 33 small neighborhoods engaged in local projects with nearly 6,500 residents and 5 neighborhood associations participating. Of all the things we built last year, building these stronger community connections might have had the most direct impact on citizens and was one of the more important long-term investments in our community made in 2015. When we're talking about the state of the city, we tend to focus on the capital investments in buildings, roads, and parks. But what gave Kelowna a 95% approval rating from citizens in 2015 had to do more with services we provide that affect our daily quality of life, like the Strong Neighborhoods program. The City of Kelowna provides around 1,400 public services: street sweeping, road repairs, traffic calming, building inspections, business licenses, recreation programs, community grants — I won't name all 1,400, I promise — free entertainment in parks, cultural services, just to name a few. Our annual $2.5 million investment in cultural services is contributing to a growing economic sector, and that would be the arts. In particular, the partnering of arts groups with businesses through the ArtsVest program has leveraged more than $700,000 in private sector funding for local arts groups over 2 years. And I also want to commend Council for increasing our professional arts grants over this past year, and I'm very happy to see our arts group supporters here. And we want you to know that we value you being here and being a great part of our community and the social fabric of it. So I want to thank you all, and we look forward to seeing further professional groups join that pool of funding, if you will. We had Bumbershoot Children's Theatre join in that group this year, and I know that if Sandra has her way, that Opera Kelowna will soon be a part of that group as well. But very happy that that Council made that choice, because we have some amazing arts groups in our community. So how we deliver those services is as important as anything we build. And service delivery is something our staff constantly reviews and looks for ways to improve. I've talked about our financial performance and our focus on core services and addressing business needs. I mentioned that going forward we're going to be focused on cost savings, revenue generation, and innovation. Later this year, staff will present Council with results of the public engagement done during the winter on the 2030 infrastructure plan. That plan will prioritize our investments over the next 10 years to ensure we are in a position to secure funding from other levels of government for shovel-ready projects, and at the same time deliver on priority projects that keep our city economically competitive. More than 60% of those prioritized investments will be to maintain existing facilities, roads, paths, and utilities. But we will need new facilities in the years ahead, including a fire hall in Glenmore, Glenmore Recreation Park, Centennial Park playing fields and playground, Rowcliffe Park at Central Green, a pedestrian overpass across the highway at Central Green, and building a new Parkinson Rec Center, to name just a few of the major items in the 2030 plan that we'll look at in 2016. Our Healthy City strategy continues to unfold with our partners at Interior Health and UBC Okanagan. We're working together to make sure our built environment is designed with the citizens' health in mind. We want age-friendly design and features to maintain a higher quality of life for people of all ages and abilities. Kelowna International Airport continues to follow through on its multi-year expansion strategies for the terminal and surrounding lands. As you've probably heard, the city bought the Shadow Ridge Golf Course property last month to secure land that will accommodate expansion for generations. It will be business as usual at the golf course for years to come, and I told the city manager I always wanted to be a club captain, maybe now this is the year. But as YLW business continues to expand, that land will secure future operational needs. Staff are also updating the airport master plan for 2025 to 2045. Since the last economic impact analysis completed in 2010, we can see the following. Employment at YLW has grown by 9% to 1,411 full-time jobs. And here's an interesting fact. Every additional daily year-round scheduled 737 flight generates up to 38 full-time jobs at the airport. Total wages earned at the YLW property have grown by 19% since 2010 to $83 million. And GDP has grown by 27% to $152 million annually. And finally, in terms of strategic plans for 2016, we're looking for new ways to generate revenue and create services attractive to the business community. It's being developed under a new initiative called Enterprise Kelowna. Enterprise Kelowna's mission is to create new revenue streams and identify cost savings for the city to minimize future tax impacts. The fiber strategy is the first of these out the door for Enterprise Kelowna, but there will be more in the years ahead. So I think you can see our approach to moving Kelowna forward. We base our investment decisions on research, community and stakeholder engagement, and identifying reliable funding models to put these strategies into action. As I said, 2016 is not a year for grand new projects. It's a year to follow through on things that are already in development and to set the groundwork for the future. However, that doesn't mean you'll have a summer free of construction detours and the occasional delay. In addition to the downtown projects underway, like the Interior Health Building, Center for Innovation, Police Services Building, the parkade expansion at the library, and the new parkade at Memorial Arena, there will be others throughout the city this spring, summer, and fall. With what's looking like another busy construction year, we are optimistic that we'll see close to the $500 million in building permit value we had in 2015. Our urban centers, like the Capri Landmark area, will continue to be the focus of efforts to integrate living, working, and transportation solutions, making it more convenient to commute to work in ways other than your single-occupant vehicle. Transit improvements are one way our urban centers are becoming more easily interconnected. Extended bus routes into the Mission area and increased bus frequency on the busiest routes are driving up ridership numbers. Expansion of our separated bike path network will continue this year with Phase 2 of the Ethel Street multi-use corridor. In the years ahead, Ethel will become a main north-south route for commuters between downtown and the Okanagan College area. This map shows our separated bike path network. Most of it is already built, but we'll expand the Ethel and Sutherland routes in the years ahead. Per capita, more people commute to work on their bikes in Kelowna than anywhere else in Canada except Victoria. And Kelowna also has more kilometers of bike lanes per capita than anywhere in the country. With the environment we have here, we're committed to making it as convenient as possible to choose a form of transportation that is healthy and reduces traffic volumes. And after another round of public input, Council looks forward to adopting our pedestrian and cycling master plan later this year. This gets back to what we're doing with our investments to make Kelowna a place where other people want to invest. Investing in a healthy community makes economic sense. We're more attractive to tourists, we're more attractive to talented workers, we save on healthcare costs, it delays or defrays expenses on transportation upgrades, it encourages new business development, and here's where I get back to what I mentioned about Council's number one priority, water. There's a strong connection between health and economics and Council's efforts to move toward an integrated water supply network. Our water system really represents everything I've talked about today. Public safety, effective financial management, being strategic to ensure efficiency, and investing in the infrastructure that improves our quality of life. This Council has identified water improvement as our number one priority, and it was residents' top priority for investment in 2015 in our citizen survey. To our knowledge, Kelowna is the only mid-sized city in BC that has 5 different major water providers, in addition to 29 private systems supplying small groups of customers. Water quality and security should be important to everyone in this room for at least 4 reasons. First and foremost, personal health. Infants, the elderly, and people with compromised immune systems are at risk today if they consume water that does not meet drinking water standards. Second, think about our reputation as a great community to visit, do business, and call home. Now think about the damage to our reputation if poor water quality results in news of people becoming ill or even worse. Third, an integrated system will have the resiliency needed to prepare us for climate change, catastrophic events, and increasing populations. It will give us secure water sources for agriculture and domestic users. And last, how much are you spending because of the current system? Kelowna International Airport, one of our main gateways for business and tourists, spent $2 million for a system to treat the water it gets and spends $70,000 annually to operate the system to ensure visitors have a good first impression of this community that we are so proud of. As a homeowner or a business owner, what are you paying extra? Change is hard, and we respect the long history of the water districts in this community. Their mandate was simple: provide water for irrigation as cheaply as possible. They did this well, but we've grown since then. No one would think that for a city of our size that we would need 5 fire departments with 5 fire chiefs, 5 sets of equipment paid for by 5 different groups of citizens. We would never tolerate that. So why is it okay to have this many different water systems? Council believes it is time to fix the water quality issues to meet Canadian drinking water standards in a timely manner and to deal with governance once and for all. Kelowna is unique with 5 large improvement districts in our boundary. About 35% of Kelowna citizens are on frequent or almost constant water quality advisories, and they have been for at least 10 years. Instead of maintaining the status quo, City Council believes we need an integrated system to ensure all citizens have clean drinking water, a secure supply, and equitable rates. Kelowna's strength is that we have multiple sources of water, but our weakness is that they are not interconnected. Kelowna's strength is that we have the multiple water, repeat of the line there. As the City of Kelowna, we want all residents to have clean water, and we are not just one of 5 water providers. Kelowna City Council has a responsibility to all residents, regardless of where they live in the city. In the end, only the province has the authority to deal with this matter because irrigation districts are authorized through provincial legislation. By looking at the system holistically, we can prioritize investments that make the most sense for the whole system and avoid duplication compared to the piecemeal approach we have today. This is also about water security. As our city grows, as the effects of climate change impact our water sources, real integration will make it possible to move large volumes of water quality anywhere in the city to address water quality, supply, and treatment in a cost-effective way. I think the subject of water integration really captures Council's true character. We're quite a different, diverse group of individuals, but we unanimously agree that when something is in the best long-term interests of our citizens, we are going to single-mindedly pursue that goal. And we bring that to every decision we face. We want to be fair but firm in our approach, but we all firmly agree an integrated water system is the right thing to do for our citizens. And on that note, I will wrap it up again by thanking you for your attention and interest in the City of Kelowna's plans for the future. Our council will continue to work today to meet our responsibilities for tomorrow, no matter how difficult or long-term those initiatives may be. Thank you.
So very succinct, powerful presentations. Just wondered if anyone had any questions. We have a few minutes that the mayor may be able to entertain a question. We do.
Lauren at the back.
First of all, I say thank you very much for being the mayor of this great city, and certainly very proud of you there. Having heard about the opportunity to pull together all of these water districts, what is the action plan?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. So Lauren would like to know what the action plan is to actually integrate all of the water systems, and I wish we had more time because it's quite a complex issue, so I'll try and bring you up to speed. So in 2012, so all of the water purveyors in our city, the 5 major ones, belong to something called the Kelowna Joint Water Committee, of which Kelowna is one of those members. In 2012, we all of the partners at the table agreed to something called the Kelowna Integrated Joint Water Plan, an Integrated Water Supply Plan. And it was endorsed by all the parties, and it was a plan to move forward to integrate all of the water systems. But in that time, since at least council has endorsed that plan, there have been some things take place that where we have no longer agree with the plan. And in order for the plan or any funding from higher levels of government, there needs to be a value planning exercise done by an independent third party of this plan before the province or the federal government will sign off on funding, which the city fully agrees on. We absolutely agree with that, and now all of the Kelowna Joint Water Committee members agree with that, although they didn't at first. So we all agree now that the plan needs to be vetted through a third-party independent value planning exercise. What we're having a hard time agreeing with is the terms of reference for that value planning process. Because we, the City of Kelowna, would like governance addressed in that value planning exercise. and we're getting some pushback from the joint water members. So the provincial government has said to break the deadlock that they would bring in a mediator to try and help resolve this deadlock, if you will, over the terms of reference for a third-party independent review of this water plan. So that's where we're at right now. We're waiting on the provincial government. They've assigned two mediators, in fact, one of them being a former minister, George Abbott. And so George Abbott will be meeting with all of the parties and seeing if we can hopefully all agree to a terms of reference to have a review of this integrated supply plan, and which we think, if done, by independently, we think would address the city's concerns with the current plan. Then we can get on with then moving the plan forward, whatever comes out the end of that terms of reference and the independent look at it. And then we'll be visiting our friend Mr. Fuhrer here, as well as our local MLAs, to tap into some of the infrastructure funds that have been made available through our Build Canada and various other infrastructure programs.